Hey everybody, I'm with Todd Lefelt of Huge. He gave one of the most interesting talks I've heard in a long time about some research he's been doing with post-millennials. Todd, what are some of the ahas you had from some of the 6 to 12-year-olds you talked to in your research?
So I think one of the biggest things that really struck both me and the group, the research group at Huge, was the language and the terminology that these kids were using just in casual conversation. So as a UX professional, we spend a ton of time really trying to devise ontologies and content strategies and content classifications and even naming features. And these kids were just literally picking up what we're putting down. They're using the vocabulary that we've created to describe their experiences as well as to create searches. So what we found is they're actually talking at a pretty high level with relation to kind of technology and interaction experiences.
Yeah. I loved, they just use words like cloud, for example.
Yes.
This just in their normal conversation.
Yeah. And as I said in the talk, like we work with companies that are spending millions of dollars trying to explain the cloud to adults today.
Yeah.
And for these kids, it was something that was kind of a no-brainer. It just naturally was like, yeah, it's where I put my stuff, it's where I store my stuff.
What were some of the implications for design and kids just flipping through pages and pages of thumbnails? That was a very interesting insight.
Yeah, I think, one of the things that stood out for us was just how resilient these kids are.
Resilient to bad design.
Resilient and tolerant of bad design.
Yeah.
They are willing to just figure it out.
Yeah.
And I think, we talked about this a lot internally, just whether their tolerance will carry through into their adulthood.
Yeah.
Or are we looking at a new wave of users, a next generation of user that will be incredibly tolerant of hard to navigate design. In many respects, we could be quite spoiled today in terms of the elegant sort of simplicity of design. And maybe the future users are going to be incredibly resilient in their ability to just figure something out and find what they're looking for.
So how are you using some of these insights in your own company? Is the jury still out? Do you need to wait and see? Or are you kind of preparing for this next generation?
The way that we use millennials today is to really justify to clients that we work with on being a little bit more daring. And I think that's how these kinds of insights will sort of trickle in. When we have a feeling about where a product or an experience needs to head, we always justify it by looking back to users and trying to tie it to create that thread back to real users and real people and what they really need, what they're really looking for. So if we have a client and we really want to kind of push them to be a little bit more fearless, we usually kind of leverage these kinds of insights and research to kind of bolster our point of view.
And Todd, where can people find you and Huge on the web?
Hugeinc.com. And we actually have an area of the website called Huge Ideas.
Yeah.
We publish a lot of...
Can't wait to check that out. Todd, thanks so much for being with us.
Sure. Thank you.